Hello there, it is 6:30 p.m. in Douala, chief town of the Littoral region, where we're broadcasting live. Welcome to Prime News on My Media Prime TV. I am Eileen for presentation. We begin the news in Yaoundé, where the government commissioner at the military tribunal has ordered a more detailed investigation into the assassination case of the journalist Martinez Zogo after spending close to 12 hours responding to questions from the military tribunal magistrates. The court decided to send all the suspects back to the gendarmerie headquarters, where more findings have to be done. Bo Elvis was on standby at the military tribunal in Yaoundé and now tells us more.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It's few minutes past midnight here at the Yaoundé Military Tribunal, where Jean-Pierre Nolinga as well as other suspects were grilled by an investigating judge in relation to the murder of journalist Martinez Zogo. The information we have now is that Jean-Pierre Nolinga as well as other suspects in the case have been transferred to the State Secretariat of Defense. They have not been sent to the Koningi Maximum Security Prison because according to the government commissioner as well as the investigative judge, they have to ensure that more investigations are done as far as this matter is concerned. That is, more investigations have to be done for them to be able to determine the implication of the suspects in this case before any trial can continue. That is the information we have here from the Yaoundé Military Tribunal because we spoke to some lawyers and they say there were some dark spots as far as the investigations are concerned, and so detailed investigations need to be done before we can know the way forward. And so everyone is going home. All the accused and all the suspects have been sent back to the State Secretariat of Defense, where they have been for more than 1 week now. We have to follow up the matter to see if there are new developments. This is Bo Elvis reporting for My Media Prime.
Thank you, Bo Elvis, for that report. Let's now take you to Fengudron Bangue in Douala, Littoral region of Cameroon, where inhabitants of the neighborhood have decried the poor state of roads in the area. Catherine Kongwe talked to some bike riders and taxi drivers in the neighborhood and compiled the following report.
This is Fengudron Bangue, a locality in the Douala 5 municipality, Littoral region of Cameroon. Here, the deplorable nature of road is posing a lot of problems to road users. Talking to some taxi drivers and bike riders plying this road, they attest that the road is very bad and it is affecting their daily activities. These bad roads affect nearly everyone, from taxi drivers to bike riders and even people trekking. As you can see, the roads are bad, and some council workers have been here since morning trying to put order on the road. These taxi drivers confirm that the bad road is destroying their vehicles. The road is affecting our work because from time to time, we need to go and see a mechanic to arrange our cars due to the bad roads. The roads are bad, as you can see, and it destroys our cars. These inhabitants says at times they are forced to pay more transport because some drivers refuse to go where the roads are bad. It is said that where there are good roads, there is development. These roads are disturbing us because at times we spend more on transport because some drivers refuse to come to Fengudron Bangue due to the bad roads. So this bad road is affecting everyone. Given that development follows where there are good roads, the population is calling on authorities that be to see what they can do to better the state of the road.
Away from the bad roads in Bangue, let's talk about this human interest story. 2 students in Ayos, a locality in the south region of Cameroon, have been accused of consuming human flesh. While investigations are ongoing to ascertain the truth behind this allegation, the children have openly confessed the practice was initiated to them by their grandfather. As we hear in the following report compiled by Nolinga.
They are aged 9 and 11 respectively and are accused of practicing witchcraft. These students, it is believed, have been feeding on human flesh following findings presented by their neighbors. According to their own statements, they were initiated by their grandfather who forced them to consume of human flesh.
On devenait d'arriver. Quand on était au village, on est parti chez nos commères. On voyait que dans le village de ma mère, quand ils sont arrivés, la nuit, on dormait. Le grand-père est venu il faut jamais lâcher. On dit que non, et puis il dit que si on ne peut pas, c'est la tuer. Nous ne connaissons pas.
Their aunt, with whom they had come to visit from Ayers, was also arrested and interrogated by the neighbors, as she still can't believe what her eyes and ears are seeing and hearing. On her part, she had gone to fetch the children to come spend some time with her during the youth week, but to her greatest surprise, this is what she has been met with today. However, the most shocking part of the story confirms the children don't even know how they eat the people during their operation, as it seems to be a thing of hypnotization into a trance.
Dans le village de ma mère, il y avait un grand-père qui nous on demandait les gens que si on ne fait pas ça, il va nous tuer. Avec ça, on commençait à manger. Notre tante est venue nous prendre au village pour venir ici, là. Après ça, nous sommes dans
Ouvre la porte.
Nous, on s'est seulement occupés de manger.
Meanwhile, it is believed that this is not the first time the children are indulging into the consumption of human flesh, as it has been a long-aged practice. Meantime, investigations are ongoing to get more facts into the allegations.
Let's now talk health. Cameroon's Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manahoda Malachi, has called on Cameroonians, particularly those at the border locality with Equatorial Guinea, to end across-the-border movements between both countries. The information is contained in a press release signed on the 14th of February 2023. Staff Lady Ewane read through that press release and now tells us more.
Cameroon's Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manahoda Malachi, has reiterated the need for Cameroon to cease movement with Equatorial Guinea after authorities confirmed the outbreak of the Marburg virus disease, which has resulted in several deaths in the country. The information is contained in a press release dated February 14, 2023 and signed by Cameroon's Health Minister, Dr. Manahoda Malachi. Going by the release, the Marburg virus is highly contagious and causes hemorrhagic fever with a fatality rate of up to 90%. The disease manifests itself through fever, headache, behavioral disorder, and general malaise. Considering the fact that Equatorial Guinea is on the border with the South region, Minister Malachi reiterates to the population on the border in particular and to the country in general to comply with standard hygienic rules, notably regular hand washing, avoiding contact with body fluids of a sick person, and eating well-cooked and hot food, just to name a few. The minister equally reassures the public that the situation is under control and currently no case of the virus has been notified in the country. He therefore calls on discipline and civility of the population in order to avoid any possible importation of this disease. It should be noted this release comes shortly after the Minister of Health, in a recent release dated February 10, 2023, restricted movement with Equatorial Guinea in order to avoid the importation of this disease.
This other health story. Today, February 15, is the International Childhood Cancer Day, a global collaborative campaign to raise awareness about childhood cancer and to express support for children and adolescents with cancer, the survivors and their families. Commemorative activities to mark the day were held in Douala, chief town of the Littoral region, at the Mbopi Mbingo Baptist Hospital. Details right ahead.
The staff and administrators of the Mbingo Baptist Hospital Mbopi Douala, comprising of nurses, doctors, lab technicians, administrators, among others, gathered in the hospital chapel to commemorate the 2023 edition of the International Childhood Cancer Day. A highlight of the event was a health talk on the killer disease in children. Vera Samba, a pediatric oncology nurse, highlighted the biggest challenge faced by medics regarding the illness.
But the challenge is that they come for care very late. If they came early, we would have better survival, maybe up to 70, 80.
According to statistics in the country, Nurse Vera says,
in fact, it depends on the type of cancer because there are many types. So, to talk about the percentage of the population, but we know that about 300 children can be diagnosed with cancer in this country every year, maybe up to 400. But the challenge is that many of them remain undiagnosed because they don't get to the childhood cancer treatment centers, which the first one is the Fondation Chantal Biamod and Child Hospital in Yaoundé, and the second is Mbingo Baptist Hospital.
It is very important to note that the cancer that mostly affects children is...
The cancers, childhood cancers are different from adult cancers. What we are seeing, cancer of the blood, which we call leukemia, is common. At first, we thought that we don't have it, but I think the challenge is that we were not looking for it. When you look for something, you get it. So now that we are beginning to diagnose it, we are seeing an increase in leukemias, that's cancer of the blood. Then we have bucket lymphoma. We have cancer of the eye, we call retinoblastoma, the white spot in the middle of the eye. We have cancer of the kidney, we call nephroblastoma, one side or both of the belly.
However, concerning the cost of treatment for childhood cancer, the Chief Medical Officer of the hospital, Dr. Camden Jacob, says,
concerning the cost of the treatment, I cannot give you the exact amount, but I would reassure you that the treatment of childhood cancer is not so expensive because the national program is taking it in consideration so that family who have such of cases should not remain at home being afraid that they could not have money to treat. So it's not really expensive.
Dr. Camden also talked about the age group highly affected.
The age is between 0 to 19 years. Those are cases that we have received so far in our city.
But have more children less than 10?
Yes, more children less than 10 years.
Nonetheless, a clear cause of cancer in children is not medically known.
No, there is no clear cause of the cancer in children. Yeah, there's no clear cause. We just suspect some sign and symptom and we go ahead with the investigation to confirm the disease.
It is worth mentioning that the theme of the 2023 edition of the International Childhood Cancer Day is better survival is achievable through their hands.
On to more health stories. Today of February 14 to the 20th is observed yearly as Heart Failure Awareness Week. The cardiovascular condition is a multifaceted and life-threatening syndrome characterized by high morbidity and mortality, poor functional capacity and quality of life, as well as high cost. Bokengo Kemia Worthy completes that story.
Diastolic, systolic, right and left-sided heart failure are sometimes plaguing an estimated 64 million people worldwide. With cardiovascular diseases including coronary artery disease, valvular heart defect, irregular heartbeat posing as primary risk factors together with underlying health conditions like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, as well as poor lifestyle choices and more. Some signs and symptoms to not ignore include having more than 18 million deaths recorded yearly borne by heart failure, healthy lifestyle choices, balanced diet, physical exercises, together with regular checkup at practices to be prioritized for a good heart health, as well as help reduce the estimated 34 million deaths by 2060.
Now, onto something else. As part of her social responsibility, the leading brewery brand of the country, Le Boisson du Cameroun, has commemorated or accompanied the youth throughout the Youth Week with the crowning of the top concert here in Douala over the weekend. In the following report, we are told Nigerian artist Joe Boy was guest star who graced the stage amongst other Cameroonian artists. Nolinga was there and now tells us more.
Born from a place of mere ideological conception, the Top Concert Act 4 is one memory that will forever last in the minds of many Douala youths, especially with the outstanding performance of popular Nigerian artist Joe Boy as main guest for the day. Officially sponsored by Le Boisson du Cameroun, the event has seen the leading brewery industry in Cameroon celebrating the 57th edition of the 11th February with the country's youths here at the Douala Canal Olympia Besenga neighborhood. Meanwhile, top Cameroonian artists like Blanche Bali, Kosi, Teno, Franco, Chris M, Longa. Amina Polo, Petite Badza and Vanista did answer present to entertain the thousands of youths who converged at the site. Away from that, it was also an opportunity for some outstanding youths to be awarded by Le Boisson du Cameroun following their participation and victory in a previous inter-college competition dubbed the Top Challenge. Meanwhile, the concert was also full of joy and excitement. As the arrival of both the Director General of the Boisson du Cameroun, Mr. Stephen Decazut, alongside the legendary one-time footballer and current president of the FECAFOOT, Samuel Eto'o, did spur crowds into these unquenchable emotions as they both addressed the youth thus.
C'est toujours un plaisir pour moi de revenir dans cette belle ville de Douala, qui m'a vu grandir et de devenir, grâce à vous, ce que je suis devenu. Bonne fête à vous!
Although the top concert Act 4 is past, these memories will forever last in the minds of these young Cameroonians as a youth day well spent after several years of no outdoor manifestations due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Nolinga there reporting there. Now in news out of the country, a Kenyan senator has been ejected out of parliament during a session over a period stain. The female parliamentarian appeared for a session in a white suit with a red stain, and her dressing was ruled as inappropriate by the House Speaker. Get top stories and details on this alongside other top stories with Joy Ngong in the following report.
We begin our tour of African stories in West Africa, where a Kenyan senator was ejected from parliament after attending a session while wearing a white suit stained red in an apparent menstrual activism campaign. According to the BBC, Gloria Oroba is due to table a motion on a bill to provide for free sanitary pads on Wednesday as part of efforts to end period poverty. Senators present during the session described Mrs. Oroba's dressing as inappropriate. House Speaker Amason Kingi ordered the senator to go change her clothes before she could be readmitted to the chambers. Still in West Africa, the African Union Commission has announced it will be sending a 90-man observer mission to Nigeria ahead of February 25 presidential elections. The African Union Election Observation Mission is headed by former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. The objectives of this observer mission, according to the African Union, is to provide an accurate and impartial assessment of the electoral process, offer recommendations for any improvement in future polls, and demonstrate AU's support towards consolidation of democracy, peace, stability, and development in Nigeria. Meanwhile, a Zambian court has granted bail to 8 Croatians, 4 married couples on trafficking charges, the bail amounting to about $1,000 each. According to one of the magistrates in the Ndola court, central Zambia, the suspects pose no flight risk as their passports are being withheld by Zambian authorities. The accused Croatians allegedly attempted to traffic 4 children between the ages of 1 and 3 from DR Congo on December 7 last year with the help of a Zambian immigration official. The 8 Croatians were first arrested in January and charged with child trafficking. The charges against them were dropped on February 6 and they were given 48 hours to leave Zambia. However, while they were boarding a plane to leave, they were rearrested on fresh charges. Although they plead not guilty, the case opens on March 1, 2023.
Now in sports news, UMS of Loom has fired back at Fecafoot, proving they cannot be threatened by the reply of the Secretary Blaise Mbida concerning the claim that they plan to back out of the competition. According to them, Fecafoot still owes UMS a huge sum. These and other striking sports stories today will be yours in the following report compiled by Ayong Magdala Bisa.
Cameroon Elite One side Union, the Mouvement Sportif of Loom, has issued a strong worded reply to the Transitional Council running the Cameroon Professional League. UMS had announced last week that they are pulling out of the Cameroon football because of unfulfilled financial obligations from Fecafoot. However, the 2-time Cameroon champions honored their matchday 12 fixture on Sunday at the Bonamoussadi Stadium in Douala, where they defeated Stade Renard of Melon by 2-1. On Monday, the Secretary General of the Transition Council, known by its French acronym CTFP, Blaise Mbida, wrote a message to UMS of Loom stating that the club responded with disgraceful remarks towards Fecafoot and its leaders with a strong tendency to blackmail and threats. The communique notified UMS that the Transitional Council has transmitted their utterances to the Federal Ethics Committee for appropriate sanctions. Now, the club has fired back, stating that all what they mentioned in their outing was just the truth, and went further to accuse the present Fecafoot Bureau of owing the club 62 million CFA. And it should be noted that the president of UMS of Loom, Mrs. Kwemo Sophia, is a member of Fecafoot's executive committee. The club also indicated that the sum of 20 million CFA is being owed to them after they won the Elite One Championship in the 2018-2019 football season. UMS of Loom are currently leaders of Group A of the Elite One Championship and is expected to play Aigle Royale of the Menwa at the Bamenzi Stadium on Sunday, February 19. Draws for the 2022-2023 football season of the Northwest Regional League has been successfully conducted. The draws were done this Tuesday, February 14, 2023 at the Regional Fecafoot Secretariat in Bamenda. This season, the Northwest Regional League saw the promotion of 11 teams from the various divisional leagues played during the 2021-2022 football season. 32 teams were drawn into 4 pools of 8 teams per pool, battling for a loan ticket to the national interpools and eventually an Elite 2 ticket. Each pool contains both old and newly promoted clubs. Equally, draws for the Southwest Regional Championship has been conducted and divided into 7 teams into 4 pools of 7 and 8. The first 2 teams from each pool will qualify for the mini interpools, and the last team from each pool will automatically be relegated to their various divisional leagues. The draws were conducted at the Southwest Fecafoot headquarters in Boya. And in other news, head coach of the Cameroon handball Lionesses, Serge Christian Guebogo, has passed away this Tuesday, February 14th. He is reported to have died from a brief illness. He was at the helm of the Cameroon handball national team until his demise. The late Serge Guebogo is 2-time vice champions, having led the Lionesses to clinch the silver medals of the African Women's Handball Championship on home soil in 2021 and in Morocco in 2022. It should be noted that the Lionesses have been currently preparing for the FIFA Women's Handball World Cup, but the team will now take part in the competition without head coach Serge Christian Guebogo.
And it's on that sports note that we'll be pulling the curtains on today's edition of Prime News, produced by Ewane and compiled by Lasha Kingsley. I have been Eileen for presentation. Thanking you all for your keen and kind attention. Don't go anywhere. Stay connected, because coming up is Prime with Leonard and his team. Have a blessed night. Bye for now.